Hare Krishna, everyone. I'm so excited. We have Guruji with us today, and I would love Guruji to explain the Saturn retrograde. Saturn came into Aquarius briefly, and now it's going back to Capricorn. And what does this all mean for us? Saturn is such a significant planet and has a huge impact on everyone's lives. So, Guruji, this whole summer, the rest of the year, Saturn is going back into Capricorn, and at the end of the year, it'll again come back into Aquarius. What does this mean? Why did it come for such a short time and back and going back again?
Well, thank you so much, Nanditaji, for giving me this opportunity to, explain this particular important, it's a very particular transit actually, especially when, there's a lot of mess going around in this world, be it Ukraine, Russia, war, be it a havoc situation in terms of, introducing new viruses, and
Yes.
a lot of other things. So this becomes very, very important. However, transits are the last thing we look at when we look at a horoscope. Remember this,
Yeah.
because every transit depends upon the Mahadasha that you're running in, right? That's very, very important. And then the other, placements of the grahas in the natal chart and in the Varga chakras. Okay. And then, we look at the transits in the end to understand the events, that are happening in somebody's life. Now, yeah. And also, yeah, I want to say something?
Yeah, so I guess based on that, anyone running a Saturn Mahadasha or going through a Sati Sati, they would be the people who would be most affected by this transit. I mean, major parts of their life might be worked.
Even the Antradasha or the Pratyantradasha, or they have as a Saturn Dhaya, which is going on in their life. Even those people will have an impact of this particular transit. So before we go ahead and explain you what exactly is happening, how it will affect various lagnas. In fact, I'll explain all the lagnas, right? And whether you should look at from the lagna or you should look at from the Rashi, I'll give you explanation on that as well. But before we go ahead and do that, let me explain you what exactly is retrogression, right? Which is called Vakri Graha. Now, what happens, Nanditaji, any graha, first of all, if very close to the Mother Earth, okay, then you can measure the relative speed. Okay, if somebody is very far away, it doesn't impact. So the first thing that happens is whatever planet is going retrograde, it is going to be very close to the Earth. So if it is going to be very close to the Earth, it is going to give effect, to that particular, entity. Okay, so now the first thing which is very clear is that whenever the planet is retrograde, it is affecting us because it is very close to us. Okay, because we are on Mother Earth, Lagna is Earth.
Yes.
Okay, second thing is what happens is suppose you are going in your own, speed, and then there is someone who just passes by you, okay, quickly. Now, this particular movement, when you have of passing by, that these 140 days of this crossing, this particular Saturn will be appearing to be going behind. Now, if this is going behind, this has a Cheshta Bala. Cheshta Bala is a mindset to cover up. Okay, mindset to cover up the situation. Now, suppose I am traveling in Saturn and you are Mother Earth. Okay, what happens is that if you are passing by, I want to be catching up with you. I want that. That is called Cheshta Bala, right? But to reach to you, first thing I'll see is in my back camera or the rear camera or the rear mirror or a glass, I'll also be looking at the glass here in my driving seat to see if I can catch ahead if something is not coming from behind. Okay, so you're going to see, and then you start, you know,
Mhm.
pushing off. Okay, so what happens is this phenomena is known as retrogression, that a planet is appearing to go behind, but it was still looking ahead. Then why
Yeah.
did it giving the effect of the previous house? Because when the Cheshta Bala is getting activated, he's first going to look behind if everything is all right behind, so that I can move ahead. So this is the principle of overtaking. When you're overtaking, when you're trying to go ahead, you just don't only look behind, in the front, you look at the rear as well, that somebody else is not going to bang in me. So that's how this planet Saturn is going to give effect.
That's beautiful explanation, because everybody says retrogression means you're going to go back and reflect on things. And that's metaphorically speaking for our lives. But physically, this phenomenon, the way you explained it, makes sense. Before you move forward, you look back to see. And that's what, so the correlation there, that's
Yeah.
amazing, because all
Yeah.
you hear is, reflect back. But
Yeah.
another
Why
way.
reflect back?
Yes,
The
yes. Okay.
planet is just appearing to go, in the same pace. You are moving ahead. You are making it go behind. But
Yeah.
now he's got the Cheshta Bal to go ahead. And when
Perfect
he's
explanation.
trying to go ahead, he's going to look back and then go ahead. So that
Yeah.
is called the drishti of the Shani, right? And that is also known as the impact of the Shani. That drishti, that impact is only for those 141 days.
Yes.
That impact, that is retrogression, and that's the clear explanation of how retrogression works. Okay, now 5th of June, right? And we were trying to make this video since 2 days. Okay,
Yes.
and it got delayed. It is now, I think, 7th of June today that we are making
Yes.
this video, and this is the first effect of retrogression. Okay.
Yeah. And this morning with my power source, we had to restart it. So
Yeah. So
yes.
the things are slowing down a bit.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what happens when you slow down things? The first thing that happens is you start thinking about what you have done right and what you have not done right in the past 2.5, 3 years. Okay. So what happens is, suppose I'm reading a book. Okay, I'm suppose I'm reading this Hanuman Chalisa. Okay, I'm going here, I'm just reading here. Now suddenly I slow down and I realize that, okay, I'm missing something. I think I missed a page. So you go back and you start reading it again. Okay, so what happens is, actually retrogression is nothing but an obsessive repair work.
Yes.
Simple. Beat any planet, it's obsessive repair work.
Yeah, you can look at it as course correction. It's a chance to go in and fix whatever you might have made a mistake on.
Or you might have not done accurately or with your 100% mindset.
Effort.
You
Yeah.
want to go back and check, just like we revise,
Yes.
just before the exam, we try and revise, and suddenly we realize, oh, this topic I didn't read well, and
Yeah.
I'm little unconfident on this particular chapter. So even before the exam, you go back to that chapter and try to read and try to memorize the points. Remember those school days, right?
Yes.
So that's what is known as retrogression.
Right.
So in whichever house it is happening for you, whatever you've done in the past 2.5 years when Saturn was in the Capi, right? You need to go and check. Saturn will work on your thought process. Saturn is not going to come here and tell you, Navneet, this is something that you've done wrong. No. Saturn will work on your thought process. Saturn will work on your circumstances. That this is where, the amendments were required. This is where honesty was required. This is where discipline was required. And you've not done that. Please go back, complete, and then join me on January 17th, 2023. in the sign of Aquarius. Simple.
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, 141 days of improving yourself. 141 days to actually, make yourself disciplined, make yourself organized, make yourself structured. That's what it is. And he's slowed down. He's looking at you. He's telling you, hey, you need to do it again. This was something that you've done in so much hurry and it was not 100%. That is the meaning. And you know what? He will force you to rectify it, because whenever Saturn is retrograde, he is very, very obsessive. He has that obsessive behavior. Any planet which is retrograde is, obsessive compulsive disorder. It is OCD. If you have any retrograde planet in any house in your kundli, you see for that particular house, you are obsessive. If you are not obsessive, you will be forced to be obsessive because of your circumstances at any point of life. Whenever that particular house or a graha or the Mahadasha activates, it comes in your life, you will have obsessive behavior. You want to achieve things obsessively. You want to correct things obsessively. You want to justify things with a lot of obsession. You were saying something, Nantaji.
No, it's so true. I've seen that even with the retrograde planets in my natal chart, or when retrogression happens with other planets, the focus automatically shifts on those aspects of life. And it's so true. I've observed that very closely now, and that makes so much sense. And that's a great explanation, because there's so much confusion when it comes to retrograde planets. There's the negativity, there's, people just generalize it by saying people will come back into your life and all kinds of nonsense. But truly to understand that, wherever this retrogression is happening, you're looking back at the previous house or previous time, whichever nakshatras or padas or house that is going to retrograde to. It's a refocus. It's a redo, or potentially do it better. And
Absolutely.
that's a better way of kind of looking at it without being fearful, and allows you to really understand that, okay, I need to look at these things. Maybe there's room for improvement.
Absolutely. So we can do it, ascendant by ascendant, right? And with all the lagnas. Now people will ask me, should we look it from the lagna or from the moon sign? You need to look it from both. Okay, equally important. From the lagna, it is going to tell you the physical, practical manifestation that is going to happen. And from the moon, it is going to tell you how it is going to impact you mentally, psychologically, right? And I must tell you that psychological effect is more severe. Okay, it's more severe, because for any physical impact, you got a painkiller, you got this, that, but for a mental, whenever you try to settle down mentally, there are a lot of side effects. Okay, so you need to understand this from both ways, from the lagna as well as the moon sign. So what I'll do here is I'll share my screen with you, so that we can get on to various lagnas, right? And try and understand that how it is going to impact. Okay, so let me open my software and let me get to the, date. Okay, 1 second, please. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we'll go here and we'll go back to the date of 5th of June when it happens. Okay, so 5th of June, and wait here, and here we go. We rotate it to the Mesha Lagna. Okay, so you can see the screen. So this is for the Mesha Lagna or the Mesha Rashi, right? Now, Saturn here is in the Aquarius, and Saturn is the lord of the 10th and the 11th house, and the retrogression is going to happen from Aquarius to Capricorn. Now, what is happening here is that Aries people should understand that they have to restructure their work. So if something was missing from good 10 months, or you said you've done it, but it was not right or it was not complete, you'll have to go back and do those reforms again, 100%. So that you can actually gain, when Saturn actually come permanently in the sign of Aquarius on 17th of January, okay, 2023. That's when it will start giving you a lot of gains in life, right? But here, I must tell you that when Saturn enters in Capricorn on 12th of July, right, it is going to aspect again, your 12th house, and then it is going to here aspecting your 4th house as well. So ladies and gentlemen, you need to be very careful with your health as well. You need to take care of your health. You have been overlooking at various circumstances in your life. If you're trying to get, just to pass by things without even actually, trying to, perfect those things, you will have to go back. I mean, you have not done things perfectly. There's perfection missing. Suppose you laid down 10 points that, okay, these are the 10 points that I'll be doing. And then out of which you did 5 and 5 are missing and you moved ahead, right? Saturn is going to bring you back and this, okay, the 5 points that you said, in last 2.5 years is missing, go back and do it and then join, So Saturn will force you. Now you are running very, very fast. You'll have to stop. Things will become stationary. And then you have to go back. And then you have to go back and start things all over again. Okay, and it is happening with me. We decided 7, 8 things in 2.5 years. We did 3 of them, 4 of them were missing. And suddenly my team is together and we are working on those 3, 4 things rigorously so that we can, achieve those things. This is Saturn retrogression. You may take it that, oh, the life has gone slow. I was going ahead. I have to go back and do it. Up to you. But if you have a frame of mind that the things are getting structured, fantastic. Okay, this is how the Saturn is going to affect in the Mesha Lagna. It is a good thing, I must tell you. For the Mesha Rashi and for the Mesha Lagna, it is good. You will structure your work, right? And you have this opportunity, to make a very strong base. We go to Vrishab. For the Vrishab Lagna or the Taurus rising, this is happening over here. Okay, so the Saturn is moving from the Aquarius, from the 10th house to your 9th house. You need to take care of your parents, first of all, the health of your parents. There will be a restructure in your foreign travels. There will be a restructure in your post-graduation, spirituality. There were things that you were missing, to clear your test for post-graduation. You will be able to clear it. You will be able to realize it that during my preparation of the entrance test, what did I miss? I was going to the doctors for my parents, but what did I miss? What is that test that I'm missing? What is that diagnosis or investigation that I'm missing? Right? For foreign travel, you were applying for your visas and everything. You will find out where is the disconnect. You'll find out that, okay, this document was required. That is why my file is not moving ahead. It is not at all a bad transit for Taurus Lagna. Shani is a very friendly, it's a Yoga Karaka planet. It's Lord of the ninth and the 10th house. It's a fantastic retrogression, gives you time to structure your destiny. See, destiny is fixed. That's okay, no problem. I agree to it, but we can restructure it a little bit. We have that opportunity. We cannot define our destiny, but we can restructure it. That's what is retrogression of Saturn. Restructure your destiny. I know you can't define it. You and I are nothing, but we can restructure it. That's what we've got from Krishna. That's what we got from Shiva. Okay. So for Taurus, it's a good, retrogression, right? Lot of improvement and lot of positive things are going to come. We will go to Gemini now. For Gemini, it is happening from the 9th house to the 8th house. Okay. Now, again, for Gemini, Shani is the Bhagya Swami. Okay. So it is happening from here to here. First of all, you need to take care of your spiritual life, right? A lot of spiritual visits, long travels that were pending, long trips that were pending from, past 2.5 years. All these things are going to come back. Also, what you will see here is that, the finances of your partnerships, there will be a new, structure with your in-laws, with your extended family, that is also going to happen. Yoga, spirituality, meditation, trying to understand, your vitality. You'll start working on these things, right? Also, you'll have to see why, you'll analyze why there were sudden accidents or sudden events that have happened in your life. What was the cause of those sudden events, right? You'll be able to diagnose those. So that's a good time for the Gemini rising as well. We'll move on to the Cancer Lagna or the Cancer moon here. Okay. So for Cancer, it is going to happen from the 8th house to the 7th house. It's going like this retrogression. Now here, you will get a lot of clues and ideas about a family property dispute. Okay, if there is a property dispute going on, especially the paternal property dispute, there are chances of this being sorted. Okay, this will be sorted because you will restructure your demand. You'll try to understand the demand of other people, maybe your siblings, brothers, sisters, right? And there will be a midway that will come. You will also look at the finances of your your business partners. There will be restructure in your partnerships. There will be redefinition of your married life, right? There will be structure in your health. Okay, yoga, astrology. If you're learning astrology, if you're learning occult sciences, you will research few things, and your hold on Jyotish will become fantastic during these 141 days. Lot of learning. You'll go back, clear your basics, make your basics strong, right? So that you can actually go ahead and do magic, in the science of occult. So that is what is going to happen for the Karka Lagna. A lot of things will be sorted, right? Especially when it comes to relationship with in-laws, relationship, with your extended family, relationship, in terms of conflicts in the property disputes. Lots and lots of benefits will come. We'll move on to the to the Single Lagna. We'll try to understand how this transit is going to work for the Single Lagna. So we rotate it, and now this transit is happening from the seventh house to this. This is happening, yeah, from the seventh house to the sixth house. So it is moving like this. The Saturn is over here. It's trying to go back over here, right? From the seventh house to the sixth house. First thing, partnerships, associations, right? If there is a conflict, those conflicts will be resolved. Okay, so there is a long conflict which is going on with the partnership, because sixth house is litigation, sixth house is conflicts, sixth house is diseases. Is something that you're fighting from so long, you will be able to get a solution, because you're going to go back, slow down, sit and think and take a suggestion and trying to resolve it. That's what is going to happen with the single lagna. So you will say, oh, that particular dispute has started again. It is not started again. It is started to restructure, to finish it off, so that you can move ahead without that particular, problem in your life. That's what is going to happen here when Saturn, moves here, right? You need to really take care of your health, right? Because Saturn will give you opportunity to restructure your body, weight, your immunity. But if you become careless here, you may suffer because of health ailments. There's no doubt about it, right? So it is a mixed transit, but it is a transit that can help you restructure things. Okay, at your work level, daily routine, disputes, your enemies, everything. We can move on to the Virgo rising. Okay, for Virgo, it is happening here from the sixth house to the fifth house. And for Virgo, Saturn is a favorable graha. So it is going from here to the here. Mantra, Shastra, children, love life, romance, your creativity, education, you will get opportunity to restructure all these things. There's no doubt about it. You will also be given opportunity to restructure your hidden talents. It will also give you opportunity to spend time with your kids. It will give you opportunity to start writing things, right? It will give you opportunity to understand your health and vitality, because when it is retrograde in the sixth house, it will ask you that if you have stomach problem, because fifth and sixth house is digestion and stomach as well. Why do you have a stomach problem? Why do you have digestion? You will say, oh, from the time Saturn is retrograde, my stomach is unwell. Saturn is trying to tell you that you should realize why your stomach is unwell. What things have you been doing? What are you eating? What are you not eating? What is wrong? Is an Ayurveda which is required, or it is the homeopathy, or which is the allopathy, or yoga, or pranayam, or Vayu exercises that are required to cure? All these things will be realized in this particular period. So technically, it's more of like a healing and rejuvenating kind of a transit. Okay, we'll move on to the Tula Lagna. For Tula Lagna, Shani is a Ati Yoga Karaka Graha. This transit is happening from the fifth house to the fourth house, right? And it is a good transit, right? So you will restructure your comforts. Okay, you will restructure your children. You will try to tell them that this is right, this is wrong, this is where we need to improve. Your relationship, your comforts of life, your property matters. If there's a property matter going on from long time, that will be sorted. If you're trying to get a property, you're trying to get a deal, you're bidding for it, you'll get a good bid. So this is a good time, because Shani will structure you here. It will slow down things, gives you complete opportunity to think about, how you can enhance those comforts in life, how, the real comfort will come, the real nourishment will come. If you were thinking that the nourishment was coming from, from wine and drinking and having food and enjoying life, Saturn will tell you, no, this is not the real comfort, this is not the real nourishment. It's in organic things that you can have. right? It's in yoga, it's in meditation, it's in traveling, sitting with children, spending time with family, spending time with mother. You're going to realize this. And you can realize this in a harder way or in a softer way. So he will give you opportunity to do it in a softer way. If you don't do it, he's going to be a little hard on you. Okay. So we can move on to the Scorpio rising here. So we can make Scorpio here, Scorpio as a rising. So this transit is happening from the fourth house to the third house. Okay. Again, you have to understand that if you started something, why didn't it work? Because third house is short travels. You're going to, you know, travel when for the pending travels that you had. You know, you'll start your journey again. If you started an initiative, what was wrong? You know, why, you know, the things didn't work. That is what, you know, you're going to restructure. Suppose you were doing something from last 6 months. Suddenly, those 6 months, that whatever you've done will stop, and then you'll get opportunity to restructure that thing again, rethink about it again. Any new beginning or any end that you were trying to do, you know, you're trying to end some things in life. Now suddenly those things that were about to conclude, they will be stopped. You know, you'll have to rethink on it, you have to rework on it, right? That's what happens with Saturn retrogression, right? People will start thinking that, okay, I'll do this, I'll do this. Suddenly they realize, no, I'm not supposed to do this. Maybe I'll have to rethink over it. You know, so that's what happens. And travel, meeting new people, you know, spending time with new people is going to start. Your small travels will start, right? And you will also start structuring yourself, because Saturn, when enters Capricorn, is going to look at your fifth house, right? Where it is going to give you, you know, an opportunity to enhance Mantra Shastra in your life, right? Spirituality, a lot of spiritual trips and tours are going to come in your life here, right? So that's what happens in this retrogression. But if you were planning to do something from the long time, you prepared everything, it's time to rethink. You know, it's time to restructure your new things. For the excuse me, for the Sagittarius, Lagna or Rashi, this is going to happen, you know, from your third house to the second house. It's going here, it's going here now, right? Now, third house is your siblings. Third house is about your communication. Please watch on your communication. If you have, you know, had communicated few things wrong, it is time to correct them. Do it by yourself or you will be forced. It is up to you. Absolutely up to you. It is time to restructure your assets, your fixed assets. You know, it is time to restructure your taste buds. It is time to restructure if you have an ugly relationship within the family. You'll go back and settle things out there. It is time to restructure the way you communicate, the way you behave within the family, within the society, the way you behave with your body when it comes to eating fast food, when it comes to eating junk. You have to restructure, otherwise you will be in trouble. Saturn here is not a friendly planet, I must tell you, for the Sagittarius, right? It will teach you the lessons of life that, look, you know, you're not supposed to eat junk. You're not supposed to behave like this. You're not supposed to communicate like this. You're not supposed to behave with your siblings like this. It is not going to be an easy transit, but yes, if you take it positively, you will be a better person, 100%. We can move on to the Capricorn. Okay, so Capricorn, it is happening from the second house to the first house. Yahan se yahan ho raha hai. From here, it is time to work on yourself. It is time to work on your intelligence. It is time to work on your identity. Saturn will give you complete opportunity to work on your real self. to make yourself a better person, right? Your finances, your savings will be sorted. You know, you will become sattvic, right? The sangharsh, the hard work will start, and a lot of things, that you thought they are complete, but then if they are not complete, you'll have to go back and redo it, which will cause little bit of frustration, but eventually you will be very happy. You'll be extremely happy about it, right? You will be able to save money in this period. You may not spend, yet you will be able to help your relative. You'll get support from the relative as well, because they will go back and see that what have you done for them. They will give it, in return. Some good news will come in terms of property as well. So we can move on to the Aquarius. Okay, for Aquarius, this transit is happening from the first house to the 12th house. It is the time to understand your strengths. It is the time to be isolated. It is the time to talk to yourself, and it is the time to become a better person. That's what is going to happen for the Aquarius people. You are going to have a lot of foreign travels. If you're looking for your PR or a green card, the good news is you are going to get it in 141 days. The permanent settlement abroad is going to happen. The sexual relationships, you have to rethink about them, right? The bed pleasures are again, energized and rejuvenized, right, in a more organized way. There will be a routine that will come in your life. On the same time, you have to be very careful with your expenses, right? You can lose money, right? Because if you have earned money in a malefic way, in a wrong way, there are chances that the money will go away. You may encounter some losses, but then you will get a lesson that you're not supposed to earn money in this fashion. That's what is going to happen for the Aquarius Lagna or the Rashi. The last one, is the Pisces. For Pisces, it is going to happen, from the 12th house to the 11th house here, this retrogression. If you have done something in last 2.5, 3 months, which has caused loss to someone, you are going to suffer losses, right? Because here, first of all, Saturn is the lord of the 11th and the 12th house itself. Second, whatever you have started, whatever spiritual routine you are doing, spirituality you have, whatever, whatever professional plan that you have for gains, in your life, you're trying to gain things from those professional plannings, you have to rethink on it. You'll have to rework on it. There could be a halt. There could be a gap, for some time in what you're doing, right? And also it is time to, look around, because 11th house is Samaj, society, people that are associated with you. If you've done something wrong or you've punished someone there, you need to, go back and correct that. If you don't do it, you will be suffering. There will be sufferings from health as well, because 12th house and the 11th house is also something we look for health, because it is 6th from the 6th. So you need to really take care of your health. You have to restructure your medicine. You might have to go back to the previous doctor, and you have to stop getting the medicine from the new doctor. So ladies and gentlemen, this was my analysis on all 12 lagnas and 12 rashis. Both are important, physical and mental manifestation. And Navneet, it's all on you now. I want you to enlighten our viewers on the nakshatras in which the Saturn is going to retrograde.
Great. So, Saturn is a slow planet. So this whole retrogression back and forth, even the one that we're in right now, right? It came into Aquarius. It's all happening in Dhanishta Nakshatra. So it's really important for all of us to understand, what is Dhanishta and what are the overall, themes of life when it comes to Dhanishta, right? In the natural zodiac, the Kalpurush Dhanishta is between Capricorn and Aquarius, two very different zodiac signs in some ways, right? Capricorn focusing more on our karma and material, acquisitions. We're working hard. It's about work and career and us in society and how we represent ourselves. So it's very tangible. And the first two padas of Dhanishta are in Capricorn, where we're building, providing, for our family, right? It's tangible, it's earnings, all of that. And then the last two padas they go into Aquarius, going from an earth, materialistic Capricorn into Aquarius, an air sign, right? Aquarius, the Kumbh Rashi represents the pot, the water pot, right? That flows. But what are you doing? What you're feeding the world. You are feeding humanity, right? The other sort of correlation you can look at it is that you're emptying all your Shadripus to get ready to travel into Pisces. There's so many different ways. Aquarius is absolutely a beautiful sign, and Dhanishta, the last two padas, really, really prepare you for something. And in a very tangible, mundane level, right? Aquarius is giving back, it's service, it's not just thinking about yourself, but really thinking about the world, the rest of the world. How is your action going to make other people's lives better? So it's giving back. So it's a very interesting nakshatra. What's happening right now? Well, we're in Libra, the third pada. Okay, which allowed us to kind of make things fair, wherever this is happening in your kundali, right? Because everyone has a different where this is happening, like what Guruji explained. So you have to look at the house, and that will give you the things that you're working on. So it's time in Libra, whatever it is, you're trying to look at it in a very fair way, because Dhanishta third pada is Libra, right? So whatever planets that are there, whatever house you're sitting, you're working on something, Saturn is asking you to be fair, right? And as
the Dhanishta third pada is not Libra, it's Capricorn, Aquarius. Where we're talking about? I sorry.
Dhanishta's third pada falls into Aquarius. That's
where
we're at. So this is what you were working on. Now we're going to go back to Capricorn.
Oh, you were talking Libra. So I said you were talking about Libra.
No, we're talking about the pada.
Pada is the pada of the third. Okay, yeah. Got that.
The pada is Libra.
The pada is Libra. Okay.
Yeah. So we can look at it broadly, the Dhanishta, the Nakshatra, but it's really, this whole movement is happening between the padas. So it's so important for us to understand each pada, right? Because each pada has a different energy. Right? In Libra, you're trying to make things fair. You were trying to look at it in a very fair way. We're now going into Virgo slowly, right? Because we're traveling back. And Virgo just has the mercurial energy. So you have to keep that in mind. It's also an energy of service, giving back, right? And now, but it's in Capricorn. It's also making a move to Capricorn. So when you take a look at all of that, you really are reworking something. Just like what Guruji said, the retrogression is allowing you to look at details, look at the finer things, what you could do better, what you didn't do better, that you could do better. It's really, really tying it up really nicely, right? And then a further retrogression later in the fall, which will go into the Leo pada, the first pada of Dhanishta, right? And that Leo is your ego, and you may find yourself that you're going to have to reconstruct your identity, let go of some of those ego issues in order for you to fix something, right? So Guruji gave examples like maybe you didn't do something right. Maybe you weren't fair to someone because your ego was driving it. Now it's a reflection, right? The retrogression again is a reflection of what you could do better. And it's a tough pada because it's the Ashtamamsya pada. So sudden change will happen. You know, this is where this retrogression will force a change. So will you accept it open arms and with acceptance, or will you fight it? That's all up to you. The difficulty of this pada will be governed by you. If you accept it and say, this is what I need to do, then life won't be so difficult. But if you're going to be fighting it, it will be difficult. You feel like things are unfair in your life, and that's not true, because that first pada is sudden changes. The forces will happen. Any change that's going to happen from this retrogression, you will feel it in August. August, you will know how life is changing with the aspect, whatever aspect of life you're working on, right? So that is the time. You know, Virgo will make you reflect, you know what you need to do. The implementation will happen in the first pada. Once you implement it, then you start to move forward, right? So this movement is quite interesting. It's giving us a chance to fix things. There is, you know, the first pada is a difficult pada. It is a breakdown of ego. Whether we accept this change open-heartedly, it's still difficult on the soul. Right? Because the soul has to realize in order for you to move forward, you're going to have to give up something that you care for deeply. It's a compromise. It's a compromise. And that is what's happening here. And it's really interesting to look at, you know, Dhanishta, you can look at it. If you look at the mythology, even what did Bhishma Pitta have to do? He had to give up his livelihood, his you know, he couldn't get married for his father's happiness, right? He gave that up. He gave up his right to be on the throne of his father's empire, right? He was celibate. He gave up his whole what do you call personal life, right? Yeah. It's a sacrifice, and it's not a small sacrifice. You will find that from your perspective, from your personal perspective, that what you're sacrificing has a huge significance. Yeah. You know, so Danisha, without going into so much mythology, you know, just remember the story, because that's what's happening right now. In this retrogression, in that first pada, the journey to the first pada and back into Aquarius, it's making you realize what you need to sacrifice, eventually sacrifice to move forward for bigger gains. But that acceptance mentally, we're humans. It's hard for us to give up things. It's hard, you know, for us to accept certain things. A change is a difficult thing for all of us. Correct. Whether it's for good or for bad, change is a hard thing. Yeah. So essentially, this is what's happening. And your solutions are for the greater good, or not just for yourself. This is not a selfish transit. This is a transit where you realize you need to be giving. Yes. Aquarius by nature, Saturn's retrogression into Capricorn is making you realize that when you get to Aquarius, you're going to think for everyone, not just for yourself. So that ego that's being broken down is really, it's letting go of your selfishness. Yes. Thinking more broadly for others. So, you know, when you look at this, whatever aspect of life you're working on, whatever the challenges are, whatever's being reworked, keep that in mind, that you need to come up with scenarios that will work well for everyone. Great. Yeah. And Dhanishta, again, pointing out, a lot of people just associate Dhanishta as, you know, wealth and money and all of that. No. And it is a good way to look at it in Kali Yuga, because money goes a long way. But, you know, when the shastras wrote about Dhanishta and what this rishis were talking about is wealth, but that wealth we've taken out of context. This is spiritual wealth. Yeah. Again, going back to Kalpurish, what does Aquarius do? Aquarius prepares you for Pisces, moksha. Right. So this is the time where you really try to balance. Kumbha, empty out all your shadripus, empty out your souls, get ready to be fulfilled with spirituality, get ready to accept so many different metaphors. Get ready to fill your pot with spiritualness and move into Pisces, feeling like you've done good for the world, right? It's
Yes.
any way you want to look at it. The theme is to give to others, to empty out all your negativity, to fill your kumbha up with all the positiveness so you can move forward. That is the goal, And I have to just say, if you haven't watched the Jupiter transit video, you must.
Yeah.
Because Jupiter is in Uttarabhadrapada. It's a Saturnian nakshatra.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Saturn is working very closely in harmony with Jupiter. Whatever is happening to you, trust me, Guru and Saturn are talking. They are in total cahoots with each other right now. Okay. And whatever is happening will be something that they both agree on.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
So this is these two planets, and it's a unique situation. Their padas are very, very similar. The Jupiter transit in Uttarabhadra is simply the same type of energy, Leo, Virgo, Libra, and and the same thing is happening here. They are working very, very closely with each other.
Yeah.
So go back and look at that. Go back and see the aspects. Go back and try to understand Uttarabhadrapada, because let me tell you, you're going to have to look at both of these transits in conjunction to really understand what it is that's happening in your life and how you should make some of those decisions. And I thought that was so interesting that, this is a very unique situation.
Yeah.
Planets have such a great impact in our lives, right? And it's very rare that they're going through the same energies, so that's I don't want to drag it out too much, but this is a preparation. This is a rework. We're literally taking this the rest of the year and preparing for Aquarius when Saturn finally comes into Aquarius, and we will know exactly where we are in our life, who we need to be.
Yes.
That's very important. It doesn't matter if it's happening in your first house. You are really defining some aspect of your life in whatever house this is happening, and you're really defining for that particular part of your life who you're going to be moving forward.
A lot of realizations.
Realization. Aquarius essentially makes you realize, Uttarabhadrapada in Pisces also makes you realize it's an acceptance of what you've done. And it's an acceptance and a realization of what you need to do in order to get moksha, if you look at metaphorically. So this is where you rework. This is where you fix. So you can feel like, okay, I'm ready for the waters of Pisces. Because essentially it's a preparation for Saturn. I'm in Pisces in the long term, which will happen in 2 years, right? It is really preparing to go into, the energy that Guru carries, because what is Saturn trying to do? Saturn is saying, we're coming to an end. Fulfill your karma. It's preparing you for Pisces.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Navneet. It was a very, very energetic and very clear and motivating, discussion, and the explanation that you've given about the nakshatra and their padas.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you like the video, please like, subscribe, and share. It gives us lots and lots of motivation. So we'll come up with another video very soon. Till then, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone.